Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome back. How's everyone doing? It's been a very, very, very nice day here in the UK, especially where I am. It's been really hot today, very nice outside. So I've been enjoying the weather a little bit this morning and this evening. But how's everyone doing? Before we get on, I have to apologise and say that I haven't been as regular as I normally would be in doing the live stream. So sorry for that, but I'll discuss what's going to go on with that in due course. So yeah, so how's everyone been getting on? Hi, Mark. How's it going? And Dave, thanks for being here. Hi, David. How's it going? And Scott there. Hi, Scott. So, and Danny as well. All right, Dan. How's it going, mate? Yeah, well, don't mention Man City. Yeah, so what have I been getting up to? So I've missed a couple of these. That is because I've been sort of busy doing other things, really. And haven't really been keeping up with what's sort of me streaming, to be precise. So what I've been doing is I've been don't worry, I won't. Evening, Neil, how's it going? Yeah, so what I've been doing, so since last year I've been sort of studying and training, really, in a different career move. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been as active on the as I normally would. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've done the first two modules. I'm on the last third module now, and then it's onward and upward. But it means that I probably won't have as much time as I would like to do YouTube. So that is sort of what's been happening. So I've been doing these online courses, and that's why I've just haven't had the energy really to do much. So I apologise for that. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So in the world of Partworks, what's crack-a-lacking in that? Well, a few things really. So I know of a company that's bringing out two Partworks. I can't say anything because outside the company, I'm the only one that knows. So if the information came out, they would know who to point the finger to. And the contact I have there, I don't want to upset too much because they supply with me with information. But I can be a bit cryptic with it. So it is a company that's been around for a while. One of the two builds that I know of, one is a new one to the UK, and the other build that I know that's coming out is a returning one, so a reissue that's already been out before. And that's all I can say, really. So speculate away. As soon as I get the O clear, I can then discuss more about that sort of going forward. But not only that, we've got Agora. They've just announced the LaFerrari. Is it the LaFerrari? And there's been a bit of a sort of 50-50 on that one in terms of pricing and everything else, really. So yeah, there's that. Agora have also released some renders for the James Bond cars. So I think one of them's a DB5 and the other one is the Lotus, but it's the submarine version. So I don't know whether they're going to produce both versions or whether it looks like by the render that they released that they're only going to do the sub version. Obviously, they may do the other version, or whether it can be sort of changed, a bit like the DeLorean between the different versions. So I'm wondering if it can be changed between the different versions, the car, obviously, and the submarine one. But the render that they released was a sub, so it looks like that's what we're getting. So is anyone actually interested in any of them? I'm not a James Bond fan, so I won't be picking up any of the James Bond figures, cars, I should say, not figures. And the Ferrari, like I said, I'm sort of done with the car builds now. So there's nothing there that really interests me. I also see that IXO have just released their Eiffel Tower as well. And I see some people already building that. There looks like there's a lot, and I mean a lot of LEDs on that. There's a lot of light piping and sort of fiber optics on it. Especially from the videos that I saw, there seemed to be a lot of electricals with that. I suppose with it lighting up, but there seemed to be a lot of like the fiber optic sort of stuff. So, and which you don't really see a lot of in the partwork sort of world, as were. I think the closest we got was the wire that went round the DeLorean from Eaglemoss, and that was really poor. But yeah, not a James Bond fan neither. Yeah, I've you know, don't get me wrong, I've watched them, and I think the films are okay, but I'm not a fan enough to buy the merch, if you know what I mean, or buy the cars or anything like that. I'm not that big of a fan. So I've signed up for the Enterprise D and the Optimus Prime from Fan Home. So I think Optimus Prime gets released in the next couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and then 3 or 4 weeks after that is when the Enterprise gets released. So yeah, and there's a lot coming up on the channel. I'm interested in the Ferrari. So if you want to know the backstory of that Ferrari and why there's a lot of uproar about it, and why some people are a bit sort of a bit miffed by it. So the Ferrari that the LaFerrari, well, that they recently previewed, it's been round the block. It's been everywhere. It's the first, though it is the first time it's come to the UK, but it has been everywhere and been done by every company as well. So originally it was done with the rest of the Ferrari. So normally the Ferrari partworks come out through, I can't remember the name, but it's Panini. Over here in the UK, it's Panini. Over there, it's something else. Consignia, something like that. I can't remember the name. But they produce all the Ferrari partworks. They're currently doing the Ferrari Transporter. That's it. They're currently doing the Ferrari Transporter over there. It seems to be really dragging that build. But it started out over there. So that was in 2016 it was brought out. That's where it started in life, was through Panini in Italy. It was then released through Hachette in sort of Central Europe. And then in 2017, it was moved to DeAgostini, who offered it as a full build. And now Agora have got it. So it's gone from Panini, Hachette, DeAgostini, and now it's at Agora. So when it first came out, it was the whole build. You know, we're talking economics here. So when it first came out in 2016, the whole build was, I think it came in close to about €700. And then it moved to Hachette, who obviously at the same price. And then it moved to DeAgostini. DeAgostini offered it only as a full build. I believe it was €700. And now Agora have it, and it's priced at €1,600. and so a lot of people are not too pleased because it's overpriced. So that's where a lot of but I sort of understand with the economics of it and stuff like that, and it is what it is. But yeah, it's a no from me. Also, it's worth noting it never got released here in the UK, so it's the first time it's been released here. Also, as well, they've offered it as for only 150 run, you can get a black version, which is really strange, just because you wouldn't necessarily associate black with a Ferrari. It's red, which is what they're offering, but I thought it was a bit strange that they offered it at a black, maybe a yellow, because if you really didn't know, before the Ferrari became the fashionable red, they were actually yellow. And so what I would have thought it would have been a better call to do the 150 as a yellow version over the black. And it's the same build, it's just black. But they're limited in that to 150 worldwide. But you can go on and do it now, but it's a no from me. But if you're a big Ferrari fan, then obviously it's your time to pick that up. And also as well, because it was mainly a European thing, I can see most of the sales coming here to UK and to the US because they're going to have it as well. But I don't know how popular Ferrari is in the States. Obviously, in Europe, it's massive. In the UK, it's not as big as a brand, you know, as it is in Europe. But you know, if you're a massive fan and that's something that fancies you, go for it. But I necessarily, if someone come to me and said, if I had the option to do the black or the red, it would be the red. Like I said, I don't know why they chose the black, because like I said, I don't know why. I would have gone for yellow. If they come to me and said we can do it in any colour you want, I would have gone yellow. We'll do the limited run in yellow, just because that was the original Ferrari colour. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what else is coming out. I know they've just released Optimus Prime, but apart from that, we know that there's some more coming out from them. If you remember rightly, it wasn't too long ago that they sort of done a teaser with a helicopter blade. So that could be like one of the builds that's due to come out through them as well. But once again, a helicopter has been a part work before. I believe a Huey and an Apache have both been part works in the past. And it looks like Agora are doing like the original, their own original designs, but it looks like they're picking up a lot of the old builds, or builds that haven't come out for a while, or builds that haven't been released here for a while, or never released but have been released elsewhere. But I do know, I think there was a Huey that was released and an Apache. Both of those were part works, so it could be one of them that they're going to bring out, or is it going to be something different? Only time will tell. But we know there's a helicopter build coming out from them, unless it's a curveball and it's an Osprey. That would be quite a feat. I think that would be quite a good, interesting build, doing an Osprey. And then obviously we've still got the Lancaster that's due to come out the sort of towards the end of the year from Hachette. Before the end of the year, I would imagine that build will come out around after Christmas. Like they tend to release one, don't they? Just after Christmas, 28th December is normally when they do release one. Most likely that will be one of them. But like I said, I know there is of a company that's going to be releasing this year. That's 100%. And like I said, one of them is a build that's never come here before, and one is a re-release that's been out before but it's coming back. And that's all I can say about that. I can't even tell you the company. You can probably fill in the gaps on those and have your speculations. Once I've got the information from that, I can sort of tell the world. But at the moment, I've been told I'm the only one outside the company that knows that they have been given the green light, and it will be this year. So exciting. In terms of builds, like I said, I've been keeping my builds going. So I've been keeping up to date with the charger. We're concentrating on the driver's door at the moment of that, and I think the next couple of issues are going to be sort of just on that door. I know some people have finished that now, but we're still at the newsagent stage, so we're still on. I think it's 110 issues. So I think it's either very early next year or the end of this year that will finish, which would be good. My Alien, that is getting sorted. So as soon as I can get the bits that I need to fix that, which is issue 99, Agora have kindly told me that they would be able to supply that to me. So I've just got to wait until they're at that point, and then they said that they will send me the parts. So I have to say thank you very much to them for doing that. There was no need for them to do that at all, but that's what they've told me they're quite happy to do for me. So that's good. So until then, it's sort of on hiatus. So I've recorded a lot of the videos. I've got one that's already uploaded to YouTube that will be released tomorrow. The other ones I'm not releasing just yet. I'm going to see what the numbers are like when I start releasing them, when people get their packs, to see if the numbers are better beforehand. Just because the guys in France have already done it. So if you want to see before, you can do that. But I noticed that a lot of people tend to build it as they are building it themselves. So I probably will keep back from issue 80 because that's already on my site on YouTube already. It's already uploaded. I've just got to release it. The rest of them need to be sort of processed and edited, and I'm thinking of just editing them and then keeping them banked on YouTube until I can until basically I release them. But I'll do that nearer the time I get the other things, nearer when everyone else in the UK is up to that pack, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that makes sense. What else we got going? The Disney Dollhouse, that's coming on really, really nicely. We're working on the first floor again this couple of next 2 weeks to finish off the windows, and then we get I think we get one more issue, and then we get like a bumper issue. It's even classed as a bumper issue, where we get the door, all the windows, and the framework for 2 of the rooms all at once. So I don't know why they've bundled it like that, but I also know as well that there's a few issues coming up on the Disney Dollhouse where they are bumper issues like that. So there's a lot of work to be done in like 1 or 2 issues where they've just crammed so much in. It's almost like they got to a point and they've gone, oh, there's actually quite a lot here, and we've got to get it all in before the time runs out, and they sort of cram it in. But yeah, that's coming along really nicely. I'm enjoying that build. And then we've got the Tumbler as well. So I pick up issue 13 this week, which is just more part of the instrument panel. So yeah, it's just more part of the instrument panel. And it looks like that's what we're concentrating on. So we've moved away from the front of the car. So we've got the two front wheels on and the front bulkhead, and now we're now concentrating on work on the dashboard and basically the cockpit itself, I think. And then I think in issue 14 we attach the dashboard to the floor. So at some point we will get the floor of the Tumbler, which I would expect it to either be a single piece or it's going to be a few pieces together. Like the floor plan on most car builds that we've done, where it's normally broken up into like 3 sections where you just screw in the 3 sections. So I'm wondering whether the tumbler is going to be a single piece or whether it's going to be broken up like that. But issue 14, we do sort of move into that area. So yeah, it's all coming good. Damn straight up. Well, coming up on the channel. A lot coming up, including another show from me and Kate. As soon as you're free. Yes, mate. I've got to clear it. Yeah, I should be free this week. I'm not doing too much this week. I've got to spend a lot of time indoors. Got deliveries coming out my ear holes. I prefer the red one. Yeah, like I said, it was just a weird choice. I went with black. I don't know why. No, by the way, nowhere else has offered it in black. No, Agora, that's like exclusive to Agora. But like I said, I don't really know why they chose black. It is what it is. Like I said, though, if someone asked me which colour would you prefer, it would have to be the red. Ferrari's a red car, you know, so yeah. Don't really know why you would go for the black. Only for the rarity, maybe. I don't know. Hi, Jay. How's it going, mate? All going good? I'm choosing to watch over United stand, mate. Never do you any. Yes, thank you. But yeah. Mondays, and I'm going to do another day as well, probably Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesday, I'm keeping that exclusive for gaming. So I'm going to keep doing the gamings on that. I'm really enjoying the games that Jay sent me. So thank you for sending me them, Jay. And that's going to continue because it's quite an easy setup. So I can turn on the PlayStation and just stream straight away. There's no fancy get up. I plug my earphones into the controller and we're a go. So yeah, so they'll be continuing on a Monday and a Wednesday. But as I'm studying at the moment, it's sort of it's trying where to fit stuff in and everything else really. So I've just released a video of the Infinity Gauntlet that I got, which I done. Which I actually got a while ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I got that, and it's just been sitting there. And I thought, you know what, I'll get it out quick, and then it's done, sort of thing. So, hi John, how's it going? Nice for you to come. So yeah, so there's all that coming. I don't really know of anything else really. I still think the market is massively flooded with Partworks amount. It's going to get more flooded because there's still more builds come out this year, and it'd be really interesting actually to see if this year could be marked as the sort of busiest Partworks have ever been in terms of releases, because I've never seen so many releases coming out. There's so many re-releases, there's so many new builds coming out. I've never known it like this. And you know, I think I've said it before as well, it's so niche that the partwork market, you don't really realize this. I mean, it's like a big community here, but in everything overall, it's actually small in terms of other models and modeling and train sets and all that sort of stuff. Partwork is like a very niche thing, but for some reason we're sort of overload. It's good to have choice. I'm not disputing that. It's good to have lots of choice. I just find that they may have flooded the market a little bit now. And you know, with finances the way they are, yeah, I don't know where to go with that. But it does seem to me that this is I've been building Partworks. Like I think I've told this many times. 2009, 2008, 2009, when I done the McLaren MP4. That was my first build, my first Partwork I ever did, and obviously since then I've done lots more. Millennium Falcon, R2D2, DeLorean, Route Master. But I've never known there to be so many build-ups, is what they're really called, build-up artworks out all at once. And also as well, like there's so many companies now doing it as well, where before you'd only have D'Agostini. When I first did it, it was just Hachette and D'Agostini. That's it. And then Eaglemoss sort of came along with build-ups because they saw what was happening. But now we've got like Agora, IXO. You know, we may have another company that comes along maybe. I know there's been talk of another company turning up and offering build-ups. We've also got as well, I know they're not classed as a part work, but over a build-up, but you've got Pucker as well, which Hornby used to release sort of the 1/8 scale stuff as well. They stopped for a very long time, but once again, they have now started to re-release some stuff as well. So you got so much choice. I just find there's a little bit of an overload with it. It's good to have choice, but you don't want these companies to overreach, because we could end up with another Eaglemoss. And trust me, we do not want that. The Agora Black Ferrari is close to $2,000 over 12 months and out of my reach. Yeah. Like I said at the start of the video, there was a bit of a backlash with the Ferrari because of the pricing. Because it was released in 2016, it was lower in price. Come today, it's actually, when it was released originally in Italy, it was like €650. And now, like you just said, the black version is close to 2K. And there's no difference. It's just black. It builds up the same. The parts are the same as the red version, which so a lot of people were a bit miffed because it went from D'Agostini offering it at €700 as a full build to Agora offering it at like 1,800 euro. You know what I mean? So that's why I think there was a lot of backlash, because I think some people wanted to buy it, but when they saw the price, they were like, "Oh, hang on a minute, it's a bit high." But yeah, there was that. Hi Scott, how's it going? Building with the boys in the house. So yeah, so there's that, but I don't want these companies to get over enthusiastic, and sort of, you know what I mean. It's I think it's a gentle balance on between what's coming out, and like I said, we know that there's a helicopter still to come from Agora. We know of at least 2 007 cars that are due to come out this year from Agora, plus many more through the years. And we know of at least 1 build coming out from Hachette with the Lancaster. We obviously know that there's some more builds coming out through Fanhome as well, including obviously all those Eaglemoss builds, plus Optimus Prime as well. Next year, I think Hachette will most likely bring out the Batman build. It seems to be going fairly well over in France. You've also just had the Infinity Gauntlet startup as well. So there's a lot out there as well, and there's a lot of different choices. Like I said, they've just released the Eiffel Tower build, which was an old build again, which has been re-released by IXO. I believe they're also bringing out the Nissan GTR, which was out through Eaglemoss, and I think they're bringing out the Willys Jeep as well, both as just full builds. So you got them as well. They're due out this year as well. So there's a lot out there. There is a lot out there. Also as well with the pricing, because the pricing has almost doubled and tripled. I understand, the economics and stuff, and I understand raw materials have gone up, so they have to pass that on to us. But as I've seen in some of the Partwork forums, so there is a Partwork forum still about, and on Reddit and stuff like that, where they're actually discussing pricing of Partworks, and they were saying that they reckon within the next year or two, it's going to become a sort of elitist and out of the reach of everyday folks who used to like building Partworks, because the model and the sort of model of it is changed now from where it used to be weekly at the newsagents as well, and where you used to get 4 parts every month. It's completely changed. That is partly down to the community who have pushed for that idea, but also down to the companies trying to save money. But they've also pushed up the prices as well. So it's it's interesting. And also as well, when these builds originally came out, there was a shorter run. So a lot of Partworks used to have a shorter run as well. So I remember the bog standard run on all Partworks was 100. You had to do it within 100 issues. Then it started creeping up, so 110, 120, 130, 140, and it's creeping up even more. So there was a discussion on one of the forums talking about the pricing and the way it's going, and there was concern that it's going to push the normal Partwork model people that normally build these and push them out of the picture, and it become more elitist sort of thing, which is what I really hate, because you get that with a lot of things. Hot Toys, the wrestling belts as well, and it's one of the things that I detest really about collecting in general. So they do 2 different versions of these belts. So as you can see, I've got 2 behind me here. So they do a cheap version, which is called a commemorative version, and they do a replica. And now, as you can see, one is a replica and one is a commemorative belt. The only difference is the plates. So one of them is metal and the commemorative one is plastic, and it's the price. And when you say you've got a commemorative, not just me, but if anybody else comes out in the group forums and says, hey, I've got a commemorative, you're sort of frowned upon, you're looked at upon. Why didn't you get a real one? Why don't you just save up and get a replica instead of a commemorative? And I hate that. I really, really do. It's the same with Hot Toys as well. I've seen it with Hot Toys when I used to collect Hot Toys as well, where you would get certain figures, and then some people say, well, why don't you just save the money and get the better figure? Is it because you couldn't afford it? I've had all of that before, and I've heard it many times. It's the same in this as well. And I feel the Partworks are slightly getting that way as well, where I even get asked, why aren't you doing the premium? Because I don't want to spend the extra getting it. Well, why? It's only an extra, you know what I mean? You have to seem to explain yourself. And I don't like that. And that's where it becomes elitist, because they're like, well, I'm spending more, so mine's better. And I hate that. I just got out of my chest. What about the Robocop? Robocop, there is going to be a video. I've got to get round to do it. So keep an eye on the channel for an update on that. Shorter builds, 50, 60 part models are being considered by Fanhome. They are, but once again, the price would increase on that. I know with their Marvel one that they recently done a survey, didn't they, Scott, with the Marvel stuff? And I think some of them builds, especially things like Groot, if they brought out Groot and Baby Groot, there is no way that they would be more than 50 issues. No way. But I'm wondering if they shorten down how many issues they bring out, would that increase the price? So would you still be paying the same price if it was more issues, but you're getting less of them, so the price would go up? I'm wondering whether they're deciding that. But there was some. Now I said, the Optimus Prime may be my last Partwork. If they brought out those busts, the 1/1 scale busts. So they had Iron Man, and I believe they had Spider-Man as well. I would build them, but those sort of builds would come down on where the line marks were, because the problem with a lot of those builds is you get the seam marks, don't you, from where you would place bits, and that would concern me. So I would have to see what they like before I decide to do them. But those two bust figures, the 1/1 scale busts, would be, I would consider building them, because I think they're quite good. Those sort of things like displays and stuff like that, I like things that I can actually get up and display and stuff like that. Figure wise, I'm a massive Marvel fan, so yeah. But I'm just wondering, Scott, whether that's them going, okay, yeah, well, we'll offer, say, the Infinity Gauntlet at 50 issues, but it's still the Infinity Gauntlet. So would they up the price on each issue and give you more parts? I don't know. But you're right. There was some on that list where you kind of went, there would be that wouldn't be 100, would it? I mean, could you build Baby Groot in more than 100 issues, especially at the 1/1 scale? Because we've actually got a 1/1 scale Baby Groot, and he's about that big. He's not very big at all. So I'm wondering how you would build that out. I don't really know. Can't believe I'm paying over for Twiggy, the truck, not the thing. yeah. I mean, it's like I say, I understand economics and stuff like that. I understand perfectly. There's an increase; they have to increase. I know for a fact that there's an increase on raw materials at the moment. So things like metals and plastics have gone up in price because I don't know why they keep using that excuse, but it really is. It's because of the knock-on effect from COVID. I can't believe we're still talking about it, but it is effectively a knock-on, because they had enough stuff. Then there was the years where we were all locked in and stuff never moved, and so they run out of their surplus, and now they've got like not as much, so it's pushed the prices up, and that's how economics works, I'm afraid. But I remember the old days, John, where most part works were always 100 issues, and at the end of it you would go, how much did it cost? And it'd be like £800 or £700. I think the Millennium Falcon, when that was first released, I think when it was finished it was like £800 complete. It was a brilliant model. It's a brilliant build, but the electrics weren't too good enough. But I do remember them. But yeah, I understand where you're going from. The Baby Groot was bigger than Iron Man. Thor's hammer, the arc reactor, the shield were the lower power cons. Yeah. I like Captain America. The thing is, the arc reactor, you can get a really decent arc reactor 1/1 scale, which I actually previewed and done a review on my channel from Fan Home. You can find them out in the wild. Thor's hammer, they do a 1/1 scale Thor's hammer. Hasbro already do one that actually lights up, and they've done different versions of that. That is 1/1 scale, and you put a little it has a little button on it and it lights up, it does the light and effect and stuff like that. The shield, once again, the Marvel Legends range do a full 1/1 scale shield. They've done a few of them. I think I know I've seen them all, but the one I've seen recently was in HMV, and it was the Winter Soldier version, which is the blue and white. But things like that they've already done, and you can find a lot cheaper as well. So I didn't have really issues with them, because I was like, I'm not really. But those busts, which is Kirsty's just got him. So there's our Baby Groot. It actually comes with different faces, so you can take his face off like that, and he comes with 3 different faces. But that's our Baby Groot, and he's fully posable as well. I mean, look, you can have him like this, boogieing the night away. And he's like, so I've already got one. So, I mean, look, I am Groot. And he's pretty detailed as well. He's got some green up there and some twigs on him. So, I mean, like things like that I've already picked up. So, this is the Hot Toy version, by the way, that they did, because they did a few different ones. They do one with him in his little suit, but we got him like this, naked. But that's my wife's, because she loves Baby Groot, like Grogu and all those sort of things. But yeah, they're probably the low count ones. But like I said, they do ones, and I'm just wondering the price point would be the thing. But the bust definitely for me, because Sideshow already released those 1/1 scale busts. They're about $4 or $5 grand. So if they done one, and it was only like 1,300, you know, it was done as a part work that you could pick up, you know, 5 or 6. I would do that, because I think that was worth it. But we'll all have to see, because it's not. They've done those surveys. So if you don't know, all the part work companies send out these surveys. I think they do them every 3 or 4 years. They do a big survey and they send it out. The last, if anyone remembers, the last Hachette one they sent out had the Lancaster bomber on it. It had the Vulcan on it. It also had a tube as well, 1960 stock tube. And there was loads of Black Cab was one of them. And obviously, out of all of them, they went with the Lancaster. And I remember DeAgostini before Fan Home, the one that they did before they done the recent one. They had loads of Marvel stuff as well, and that's how we got the Infinity Gauntlet, because the Infinity Gauntlet was on there along with I believe 2 things that I really thought they would have done, which was the Quinjet and the Helicarrier was on there, and there was a few other Marvel things as well. But that's how we got the Infinity Gauntlet. So normally they send these emails out, and they're more than likely you decide which ones you want, and more than likely they pick the 2 popular ones. That's the ones they tend to do. So out of all that list, there'll probably end up 1 or 2 that will end up actually coming out. So it's interesting. The busts were really nice. They did look really nice. But I noticed that the pictures that they used were Sideshow's pictures. So if they can get that, it'd be brilliant. Yeah, it won't make many issues. No. Like I said, the Baby Groot there, and they do a normal Groot as well. It's just not. I don't see the big issues there. Maybe they're coming down on their issues, but like I said, if they do that, would they increase the price? I don't know. It's an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see what comes out. Will Fan Home be bringing out Robocop? I don't know. Not too sure on that one. Milano would be nice. I would go for that. Yeah. All those sort of ship ones, they would probably be really good. But it's interesting, because I've suspected that they already know, because if you don't know, part works aren't just thought up and then made and then they're released within a year. It's normally a 4 or 5 year process from sort of design and then release is normally about 4 or 5 years. And I'm wondering whether they've sent out that email already knowing what they're going to do, because of how long that takes. Take the Enterprise D, for instance. So that build up for the Enterprise D, even though we know what happens to that, Fan Home are now taking it on. But originally when Eaglemoss did it, that was a 7-year project, and it went through 2 rebuilds in that as well. I don't know how many people would go, but it's worse. It's worse than it was. Is another matter. But that was a 7-year project from thinking about it to physically getting released was 7 years. So yes, so some of these part works aren't sort of like I'll build that, and then they go and build it. There's a lot of mechanics involved, including licensing and then redesign and designing and knowing what works and stuff like that. So a lot of these projects are like I said, about 4 or 5 years in the making, which actually puts the Lancaster and things like that right in the right position of where we all picked the ones that we would like. So in 3 or 4 years time, Scott, we could be building one of those ones on their list, unless they've already know what they're going to do. Hi guys, I'm joining late. What is the topic of the evening? Part works as normal, Wayne. Yep. So yeah, like I said, it's not like a quick process, this part work business. It's the same for any model, really. There's a process to be taken, and if you've watched Modelling World, which was the Hornby TV series on yesterday, it's really interesting because they go through the design aspect, but the thing you don't see is the time frame on that, which is a long time. So from sort of them going green lighting, them doing a build to actually physically getting it, there's a couple of years involved in that. So yeah, it's not a quick process, but yeah, I'm wondering whether they already know, Scott, which ones they're bringing out. And those marketing emails are just to see the interest on the ones that they're going to be bringing out anyway. But there was a few I didn't click, but I have done those emails before. I've clicked every single one. So yeah, I don't know what's happened with the Star Wars builds. So there was heavy talk of them bringing out the AT-AT again, testing that. That's never really come to fruition. And then there has been the one that done really well, but it sort of was around lockdown time, and that was the Star Destroyer. And there was big talk of that being the next Star Wars ship to be released from D'Agostini or Fan Home, wherever you want to call that. But it's got a bit quiet on that front. I wouldn't mind building a Razor Crest if they brought a part work out of the Razor Crest. Yeah, I'd build that. I'm sort of getting drawn back in here. But yeah, it's all pipe dreams, isn't it? You can all dream. See, it takes 2 years to just build one model. Yeah, so you can imagine as well. You got a thing like the Enterprise build. Say that's a 2 year build for us to build it, but 7 years before, it's taken to get to the stage where we got issue 1. So you got, in all aspects, it's a 10-year build from conception to the finished article, which we have finished, is 10 years. Obviously, it's going to be a lot longer now because of what happened, but it's an amazing sort of feat to think of, isn't it, really, when you think of these builds. It's worth noting that is only due to new builds. If you're doing a re-release, that is as easy as going, we'll re-release that. That is it, because the molds and the tooling is already done. So they don't have to pay for that. They don't have to design that. All they have to do is tell the manufacturer to produce it, and then they produce it. That's it. Yeah. Where are we? Half scale Vader seems like a no-brainer. I mean, we still haven't seen one. Yeah. It's I don't know how Marvel is at sort of licensing some stuff now. I'm not too sure. I know at one point that they wanted to do Slave One, and then they changed Slave One to, I think they just called it the ship, didn't they? But they haven't done that one, because I would have thought that the slave one would have been a no-brainer ship to do as well, because I think a lot of people would have done that. Because that's really interesting, because it's got quite a lot of lights on the. Well, I don't know. Is it the base of it, or is it the back of it? That's an interesting one, right? But there's a lot of lights there. You've got the engine lights, and I think you've got like landing light bits on it as well. The cockpit would be interesting. Would you be able to open it up like the Millennium Falcon? Sort of mind starts thinking, doesn't it? That's the thing. How is the route mask build going? I've completed it. I completed it a long time ago, Wayne. A long time ago. Back in the original Hachette days. Did you see World of Wayne's X-Wing? I did, yeah. It went for a Burton, didn't it? It went for a tumble, and completely destroyed. That is probably one of my worst fears, I think, on doing any part work and build. It's one of the reasons why I sometimes, when I watch your videos, Mark, and I see your Millennium Falcon on the wall, I'm like, oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. It did come with a wall bracket, didn't it? Which was a TV bracket. It did come with that. I believe them. Didn't the X-Wing also come with that sort of stand as well? But I wouldn't trust any of that. No. No, I wouldn't put it anywhere on a wall or anywhere like that. And things like the Alien build and obviously Tommy here, the Terminator, I worry for them as well, of them toppling over. The things like cars, they're pretty stable. They're not going anywhere. But things like that, yeah. If that goes for a Burton, then that's that's it. And considering I've had it a long time, I don't want to really think about it. But yes, I did see it. It was heartbreaking. Yeah. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. Yeah. Especially when you spend all that money building it and stuff. And yeah, I wouldn't hang anything part work wise anywhere, just because of the weight involved. You got to think there's die cast in there and hanging that, and it could just pop, and it only takes a little tumble, doesn't it? Only takes a little wobble, bang, it's gone. Evening, Stephen. How's it going? Yes, it did. The whole wall mount would come down the way I have secured. The whole wall would come down. Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah, no more nails it and cement. I think that, like, if it came down, it'd have to bring the house with it. That's the sort of thing you want. But no, I mean, years ago, when I used to build models years ago, I was talking when I was like 9 and 10, when I used to build the old AMT Star Trek models when I was a kid. When you went into my room when I was a kid, they're all hanging from the ceiling from fishing wire. But I wouldn't do that with a part. But like I said, there's too much involved with it to hang those sort of things. I know a lot of people are now going to go, well, you go for the display cases, and that won't happen. You don't know. You don't know if they could collapse in. But anyway, it is one of those. It's one of those things. My Terminator eyes stopped working. Are you using batteries, Wayne? Because if you get a mod from Partwork Upgrades, a power mod, they will work. Because when I first finished the Terminator, and I keep pointing up there because he's there. When I first finished him, I used the normal batteries, and I did the same for the head. The lights lit up, but the eyes wouldn't move and the jaw wouldn't move. So Mark kindly sent me his power mod when he got a new one, and he sent me his old power mod, and I'll tell you what, thousands of times better. The eyes move straight away. It's on in the evenings. I put it on. It's on all the time. It's a godsend, and I can't praise power mods enough. But it comes down to how often you would switch on. Because of where this is, that's why it's sort of central. I put it on, but I don't tend to get power mods for my cars and that, because they're a little bit out of the way and stuff. What is the power mod? It goes into the mains. You you put in a pack where the batteries would go, and you plug it into the mains, and it's powered up all the time. Mine is on all the time. It's not on at the moment, but it's like the plug is for the main bit. And I've got the old power mod, which has the wire from the head and the base, but I believe there's a wireless one now. But go and check out Partwork Upgrades, because they actually do the power mod for it. So the power mod would really work. It saves batteries and all of that as well, going in and out and taking off the back of the head and all of that. Like I said, I can't sort of stress enough. Get yourself a power mod for things. But yeah, that's what's been happening. So not a lot really. There's been a lot going on. Nothing really has shifted. I've seen that's okay, Wayne. I've seen a lot of people now have started to get their Infinity gauntlets, and they look really cool. I think subscribers for the Tumblr, their parts have just been processed, so they could get them at the end of this week coming, or early next week. But remember, next Monday is a bank holiday, and that normally mucks up post. I don't really know why, but it really does. There you go, Wayne. There's a Mark has kindly put the link in there for you to go and have a look. Thank you for doing that, Mark. I'm in the middle of building the Tumblr. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, but I have noticed I fit. Look, let's get it out in the open. It's going to be one of those builds that drags. I did the comedy video that I did for the wheel, where we just got the inner rim, and then I ordered the other part of the tyre. Thanks, Mark. No problem. And that went together really well. But it looks like then we had the dashboard this week, which we just fitted 2 stickers to and stuck it together. Next week, it's the same thing. We get 1 piece and 2 little bits that go on the dashboard. Done. So, right. So I'm going to pack it up now. Thank you guys for coming along. I know I haven't been as regular as I should be, but you know, I've been back to school, as it would say. And I will, once I've got the certificates and back for my final thing, I will tell you what I've been doing. But I think some people already know what I've been doing. So, thanks, John. Yeah, night all. Yeah, so I'm going to go. Thank you lots for joining. I've loved the comeback and discussion as always. So this week we should be back on track. I'm going to try and do some podcasts this week with Dan and myself, and also try and get maybe Mark and Jason on a podcast, maybe even together. How about that, Mark? If we can arrange me, you, and Jason to do a Partwork podcast together, that would really work. Give us a ring when you can, mate. Enjoy watching that. Top man. Cheers, Dan. Great to see you next time. Good night. Yes, good night from us. Good night from you. And as always, we'll see you at the next video, guys. Take it easy.